Okay, so I invented a Speedcube game where anyone can battle anyone. And on game 6, I managed to convince Shawn, aka Speedcube Review, to come on for a game. How is that possible for a tiny little channel like mine? Well, at the start of the stream, Shawn and I sort of explained the story of how at the same time we were thinking the same things despite never having met. This is how it came to be.
Shawn, can we do a little bit of storytelling before we start about
Please.
how this ended up happening? So why don't you start by sort of explaining your video from a few months ago?
Yes, so I made a video. I always have been trying to come up with something where people can compete who are any times, because there's always people who are like, oh, let's compete. I'm 6-second average. Like, oh, no thanks.
Yeah.
And I made actually a few years back, I made a board game. And it was a similar thing where pieces moved based on how you did compared to an average. And so I put something together that was like a spreadsheet where your times were plus or minus depending on your on average. So it basically is a handicap. And I thought about it like bowling, where bowling leagues would do a similar thing. At least when I was a kid, it was like that. But I can't remember the exact. I think I even asked in the video. I was like, I don't know the best way of doing this where it feels like it works, because not everyone even has a WCA average.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened was I saw that video, and actually at the same time I'd been working with a couple of people here in New Zealand on pretty much the same idea. What had happened is, it's actually probably a year ago, we had our own New Zealand version of Monkey League, which was called Kiwi League. It was sanctioned by Philip and everything like that. It was all good. We did that, but we had all this feedback from people who weren't fast enough to do it, going, man, I wish there was a way that I could get involved in a game like this as well. And I was like, that's a really good point, actually. How can I, for me, what it boiled down to was like, how can I engineer a situation where I can have a fair battle with, for example, Chris Mills, who was working for me at the time and is super fast. And all of a sudden, one day, it was one of those shower thoughts. You know, when you're in the shower or whatever, the space where inspiration hits you. I had a shower thought one day when I realized that when Chris goes 1 second too slow and I go 1 second too slow, those are drastically different, because a second too slow for me is not that big a deal. Yeah. But a second too slow for Chris is a massive deal. And that's when I started to come up with the idea of the percentages.
And so, yeah, the part of the story I missed out is that then I took one of the matches we'd already done, I emailed it to Shawn and just sort of said, hey, you don't know me, but I think we had the same idea at the same time. And I think I've worked it out. Do you want to come and have a game? And he was super cool. He said, yeah, absolutely, when? And it just went from there. It was amazing. And then I got to have this experience of like being on a stream with this face and this voice that I knew so well from Shawn's content. And there he was, like, on a call with me, and we were having a game of cubes. Like, how awesome. All right, thank you so much for watching. If you want to go and watch the whole match, you can go and do that here. You can also check out my banging 18-second single right here as well. Whenever I've done the edit to make a shorter version of the match, I'm going to put that up here as well, I guess. In the meantime, just go watch something else that I made. Go on, have fun. Peace.